For me, it's a feeling, and it just comes out when I'm up there.
You have an alter ego.
It's gonna be here.
Basically.
I love that. Melody, Muddy Waters once said the blues are the roots, the other musics are the fruits. How did blues music lay the foundation of all popular genres of music?
So if you think of music in layers, there's all of these different genres, right? But at the base of all American music, which is all of the genres of music that exist, the blues is underneath. Musically, literally, the 12-bar blues can be found in hip-hop, in country, in folk, in Latin music, everything. So you can't have one without the other, and if you want more from music, I believe that you kind of have to start with the blues.
That's a really beautiful description.
Yeah.
I want to talk a little bit about a scene in Sinners, Diamond. There's a line from one of the characters named Delta Slim, which reads, "See, white folks, they like the blues just fine. They don't like the people who make it. There is history of African-American blues musicians having their songs stolen and popularized by white performers." Can you tell us more about the struggle for African-Americans to own their music?
Oh, absolutely. And I think that quote from the movie speaks to it directly, where, just because of prejudices and racism and things like that, and not even having the exposure as, white counterparts, Black folks in history across the board have always had issues with owning music, not even just from an exposure standpoint, but just from the things that they don't have. They don't have access to, the managers and things like that, the financial components that it takes to build your business that way. And so that is why you see such ownership and such pride when people are speaking about blues specifically, because we know that at the root of it, that is when that type of behavior began. But as culture carriers, we are trying to make sure that those things don't continue to happen for our counterparts. So
What are your thoughts, Melody, about that line in the movie?
Yeah, I think that for me, it's kind of a call to action for us that are still moving forward, that we need to move forward together. We need to combine forces and make sure that not only that we get treated fairly, but that our legends, the ones that are still here with us, still creating, that they get their due as well. And that's going to take all of us working together.
Billy, you have traveled the world performing blues. What makes blues so universal for fans all over?
Well, for one thing, it's the only music you can say that you have. You can't say, I got the jazz, I got the hip-hop. How you feeling? And it's a universal feeling. I have a melody as well. Played in countries where they don't speak or understand the English language. But the feeling of the blues, transcends that, and they get it. I've done several tours in China, and people, tears are running down their faces just listening to the music.
That just says like the tones, the rhythms, what it does to someone's soul.
Right, but the downside is that the blues is always relegated to the bottom rung of the ladder. Even in the Grammys, the recent Grammys, they mentioned all the other genres of music, but they did not mention the word blues one time.
So what is it like for you to know, like a movie like Sinners, specifically centered on blues?
That is very encouraging. And the fact that Buddy Guy makes a cameo and Kingfish makes a cameo and the soundtrack is blues-based, it makes maybe Hollywood and maybe the powers that be are taking a closer and a better look.
It's almost like about time.
Yeah, because the blues has always been, suppressed.
You laugh because it's almost like, yes, we've been here.
It's like the running joke.
That is very interesting. Harrell, what do you think about the current state of blues music?
Well, I think, now that we've got a lot of people, especially young people, playing the blues. Not only
because
myself.
you're 19, correct?
Yes, ma'am. But you've got a lot of people like Stephen Hull and Melody Angel, of course, and myself and so many others, young guys and women and young African Americans, especially, who are getting into the blues. Whereas like 15 years ago, I can even say, even though I'm only 19, that I wasn't seeing it, and so it's really rising. And then we've got other people from all over the world who are playing, and I think the movie Centers just is probably helping, catapult the next generation of that. Yeah.
I mean, Billy, what is it like for you to see such a young musician, 19 years old?
Listen,
Can you remember when you were 19?
I can. I've taught blues all right, I'm gonna take a fit. I've taught blues in schools since 1978. And Rel, my wife and I have the privilege. He stays with us when he comes to visit, and I can't say enough about him, but it does my heart good to see these young folk, and they're coming in strong, they're coming in knowledgeable, they're coming in skilled, they know the history, and they're learning, and passionate. And so I'm happy.
I love that.
I told Real, I said, boy, you know how long I've been waiting for you cats to show up.
That's awesome.
And now they're coming.
That's really awesome.
Yeah.
And you paved the way.
Well,
One of them, honestly.
thank you.
And Diamond, I want to ask, what could the city of Chicago be doing more, to honor the legacy of blues?
And investing in the communities where the blues started and lived. Chicago Blues Festival is, if it's not like the biggest, festival I think in the United States, maybe like even the world when it comes to blues. Yeah. And so Chicago gets a lot of commerce based on that. And so, with this emergence of the interest of blues, I'm hoping that taps Chicago on the shoulder to begin to show up and invest in these communities. We need commerce on top of the culture as well.
Melody, what about you? You're born in Chicago, correct?
Yeah.
How would you
I think that making sure that music is in schools and that our history is preserved, our music history, as well as our Black history for CPS. I think way more money needs to go into that because it's an empowering factor. Like knowing,
they don't
like
have
I discovered all of this on YouTube. But what if I could also discover it in a classroom? And what if they also handed me an instrument that I could play and get inspired from? So I think that more needs to be done for our youth.
Beautiful. We only have a couple seconds left.
Just say one. When you go to New Orleans or Memphis, as soon as you get off the plane, in the airport, you see the memorabilia, you see the images, you hear the music pipe. And Chicago is missing the boat. Buddy Guy just did an interview recently. He just a presentation to the city council, and he stated as much. Chicago is yet to really embrace its blues cultural heritage.
Well, thank you so much. We're going to have to leave it at that. Thank you so much. It was so insightful. I appreciate
Thank
you
you.
coming in. And we're back to wrap things up right after this.
Reflect.